Good morning, everybody. Let's get after it. I know I've been off for a couple days here. Ethereum price doing what it's doing. So it's time for us to kind of settle in, align, and see what's going on here. So let's check out the monthly. We know we're coming in on a close um, today, so we're gonna get a nice fresh monthly close candle here. So let's kind of start with the monthly look. It's looking nice. It's looking nice. I do like, and if we do, and I'm assuming we will, close above this previous range high right here. So we're going to clear that, get some support up here. I'm assuming we're going to be capped and close in between in this area here. Previous all-time highs and the previous range. So, I've been I don't know, guys. It's been rough for me holding right here. Par for the course, right? Prior all-time high breakout, literally just tickling everybody on what's to come here. So God, it's just been killing me. Right now, I'm all cash watching. I have a few calls on BMNR. I bought it close last week on Friday, just for a quick pop, scalp type situation. But I don't know. I'm cash right now, guys. I'm looking, part of me feels that we may get a little correction in September before we launch. The hope out there is palpable. I mean, you can tell the hope is thick. So I don't know, man. Maybe we do get a little, you know what I mean? Everybody be freaking out right there. I don't want it, but it could be happening. So that's the monthly here. It's looking healthy overall. Possibly needing that pullback touch to, retest, get a nice solid retest there. But yeah, that's kind of that look. So let's go over to the oh my God. Let's go over to the weekly here. Whoops. So yeah, weekly's about to wrap up too. Weekly's looking good, so let's kind of get in there real close. So it'd be nice to see this weekly close above this prior low here. Looks like we're right below it, kind of just floating here. And we're below this previous close. So I don't know, guys. It's looking heavy. It's looking like we probably close in this area, and then, we proceed to dump. Finding some support right in here. You know what I mean? The little inverse head and shoulders. But it's feeling to me, 1, 2, 3, maybe we get a 3-week pause here. Or maybe not. That's what I'm looking for, guys. If we don't get this pause and say we today, this sucks right back up and we just start going, it's always a possibility. So, waiting and watching for that. So let's look at the daily here. So the daily, it had a pretty good close on Saturday and Friday, surprisingly, hanging out on these lows here, finding that support, big, heavy support right in here on these order blocks. And you can see here the rejections on the wicks, right? So just, so like there's buying pressure here, and we know who those are, right? That's the Tom Lees, that's the fucking SBETs, that's all the DATs out there, and the undisclosed. But we got to keep our hats on here and make sure that we don't get swayed into the bullishness, right? The news is getting thick. Tom Lee's on a talk show every fucking day. And the price projections keep getting higher. So I'm starting to get worried. I trust Tom Lee, and I don't know. He has a good track record, but maybe he's just a little over his skis here, guys. I don't know. I'm worried. Worried about the DATs. I'm worried that we maybe do get a big risk off into September here. Maybe we do test some lower spots here. I don't know. It just doesn't look very good. It just looks like somebody's trying to keep this going. You know what I mean? It just looks like somebody's trying really hard in this area to keep it pumping, and naturally it's just falling. Gravity's pulling it back. So I'm watching right now. We may get bonked here, guys, and just start coming down. Ideally, like let's get a retest down here. Let's get bonked here, and maybe and then as the Tom Lees come in, and then something scary, and yeah, maybe that's how we get going. You know what I mean? Think of that. Think of that be the kind of mirroring that here with a higher low, and then we shoot. That could be it too. It just looks very heavy up here, guys. It doesn't look like it's ready to go. It lost the trend line. It lost this trend line. Sorry about that, but it lost the trend line. Even the one that freaking Tom and his freaking analysts called out on the web. They were like, "Oh, it's gonna go right back up." It came back down. Oh man, how many people that effed? But yeah, I'm just watching, guys. It looks heavy. We may need a reset. Before we get going. So, there's just so much hope out there, and I think that's gonna be the killer. So you kind of look here too. Look at the RSI. So yeah, it's tightening in there, man. It's just, you know what I mean? It's all that buying pressure and the seasonality right now. We should be falling off, but it's just, the oxymoron of the buy flows right now are. So we'll see. Maybe we push, and everybody has to play the catch-up trade here. So I'm going to be very, very closely watching this. Let's go to the 4 hour. So we start high level, high time frame. We get lower time frames here. So 4 hour looks nice, guys. I mean, we're flagging here. We didn't get the test, but we got the higher low. I don't know. It's just so hard, guys. I still think it looks a little heavy here. I would love to see this just go for it, but I don't know, guys. I think we roll, and at least test this. You know what I mean? So we roll down. You get your higher low RSI here, and then that should be it. But I don't know. It just looks heavy, looks forced. The price looks forced. Looks like they're really trying to get it to go, but it's not naturally going. Let's go look at the hourly here. Hourly looks constructive too. We got basically the same structures as over here, right? We're basing out, getting some divergences in here, reclaiming the moving averages. I don't feel it over here. We didn't get enough flushes, enough reclaims. Yeah, we got a little divergence here. But then this bottom was a mess, right? This should have been a decisive poke and go. But it was like they hung out down here. They got cute. Now they're just chilling. So, again, I think price looks very heavy. We might be needing a retest, guys. Or just some sort of cooling into September, getting us ready for Q4. All right, so that's ETH. I'm sitting, watching, waiting on ETH. Very optimistic, though. For the future, maybe not near term. Let's look at BTC. So Bitcoin here, we're just kind of holding. And, let's look at the monthly again. So the monthly, we don't have the close just yet, but it's just hanging out up here, guys. And I think that's kind of where it will be, maybe through September. Maybe it gets a little scary, so it closes up in here, and then in September we get a little scary, pop in and then go. You know what I mean? To come in here and flush out all these longs, contest the 100K spot here. I don't know. I think you got to think about how many of the treasury companies bought up here. Like almost all of them. So they're all screwed right now. So maybe for the month we get just a nice little washout. So we come back down here and, well, it's going to be a one candle go. Maybe September to October, and then it, you know what I mean? But it's looking heavy. You know, it could be the end, though. It could be the end of this little correction here. Let's look back over here just to give you guys reference. So here's a look at like September, August, right? So retesting the highs here, September coming in for the flush. But we're in a different scenario here, right? Because you look at this September, 2020, was the flush. August, you know, showing some green progress, pushing up after July. So we're kind of flipped here, right? We had a bullish July, bunch of give back in August. So is September the go? But then, you know, you see here, we do get a sweep. So on the month after this top retest, you know, it's going to come down a little bit. It's going to come down a little bit. It's probably going to test prior closes and then rip. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe the beginning of September is a little rocky, a little scary, and then it goes, you know. So let's look at, again, heavy, but strong. I'd say Bitcoin looks strong just from where it's at, geographically on the chart here with the price. We're coming into 100K, very strong support here, hitting the moving averages here, testing it very cleanly. Again, I think, you know, we may have some deeper ways to go here. Look at that flat. Look at this. This is just hilarious. They literally just have somebody on the sell button here. Anytime over 120K, they hit sell. Just look at that flat. But yeah, right now, you know, not appetizing, stabilizing. ETH would be where the eyes go. But maybe with this one too, weeklies. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know on the weekly. I'm very confused on crypto right now. Oh, let's go to the daily. So daily too, you know, it's same looks. We are getting some slight divergences, but nothing clear, right? It just slow bleeds here, and I don't like to see that. We are in a very good spot for support, but this, you know, this looks like it's calling our name, right? This area looks like it's calling our name. It's right by 100K. It looks heavy. Everybody is so hopeful and worried right now. It'd just be the perfect time to just cream everybody. So I think, you know, we just keep, and then, you know, maybe something like that. But yeah, that 100K level is going to be spicy. Yeah, September's looking dicey, guys. I don't know. There's no strength here. This should have been going if we were going, right? But it's just so let's go look at the 4-hour. You know, and they did have some good hammers here on the lows, but now it's just fallen off. So like you see here, you know, some slight bullish divergences, and then you see like, I don't know, guys. This doesn't look good. And maybe that's why it goes, and maybe that's why it's the bottom, because it doesn't look good. But there's nothing decisive here, and it lost that reclaim, fell off. I don't know, dude. It looks scary. Let's look at the 1 hour. So 1 hour here, you know, we got some divergences. Nothing clear though. Dude, this looks horrible. I would want nothing to do with this right now. There's no volatility too, so there's no reclaim pushes. Everything's just kind of dripping lower. It's almost like the participants have walked away. Or we are fully at bottom here. You know what I mean? And we're just going to dribble around as ETH has fun. I don't know, guys. It looks dicey. I would just be watching, especially as Monday open for TradFi. Very interesting times ahead. For constructive, I would need this to start to push back up and then reclaim this area for sure, at least. But yeah, it looks scary. Only thing we have is the support, the historical support. But here, there's no appetite. So, for daily, let's look at higher level, like a high level call out for you guys here. So the daily, yeah, I don't know. This area is just calling my name. Maybe they get a little some spicy, right? Um, you know, maybe they get another little push here just to throw everybody off who just got short. But it looks like it needs that one last dump. But again, let's not forget where we're at. So we'll see. Again, this is a wait and see, guys. Don't jump in before you got some confirmations here. All right, so there's that. Let's go look at SPX really quick, and then we'll wrap it up. Well, let's look at BMNR too as well, but let's look at SPY, guys. So SPY 2, it did undercut these previous highs, so not very strong, not as strong as you would like it to close the week or the day. Again, let's go back to the month. What are we doing here? So the monthly looks good. It's pushing, cleared prior highs, nice close. Yeah, there's no notes here. It is what it is. And you look at the weekly, right? We got a little bit of diciness up top here. Almost looking a little toppy. I'm not gonna lie. So maybe that pulls into that September weakness, and we get a little retest on these highs here with a nice wick. Well, nothing like that, but you know what I mean. We retest these highs, get a little wicky poo, and then we get going. Or, they need something more drastic here, and we come out and retest something a little more spicy. But it does look toppy-ish. We do know AI spending is climaxing. We do know, it's starting to get a little silly. And the application layer is now the important piece. So how are we applying the AI? The infrastructure has been laid. Data centers are there. Those are going to start to, collapse and condense. The winners are going to start to pop up. The losers are going to start to fall off. That was definitely oversaturated for the data centers. Now we're application. How do we translate it to margin improvements? That's going to be, how do your companies like Salesforce utilize the AI in their platforms? Because the AI tools are nice, but people don't know how to use them. You got to know how to ask the questions, how to utilize the tool. So I think they're still going to need applications to utilize the AI to serve up the solutions. So there'll be the people that don't need the applications, but they need that layer to kind of serve up the UI, right? So let's look at the daily too. Or we already checked that out. So we know, I'm just watching TradFi too. September weakness, October, what have you. I think we may start, we may get a push. It looks healthy enough. We're out of the woods with the NVIDIA earnings. So I think now maybe is a good time where price can just drift up. I just want to have enough in the tank for a bullish holiday season. I don't want them to fucking, shoot it in one go here. So let's just look at the Qs. We know the Qs is probably where we're overheated the most. This is back when I was buying the dip on that. Okay. So we got the Qs here, kind of the same look. Not as good of a close on the monthly as we had for SPY. So keeping that in mind, we know that's just AI froth, right? That's rotation into the application layer. There's a lot of frothiness in data centers. Again, look at the weekly. So we might, this is where the weakness is. We might get something, as we work out the froth for the data centers. And just like the Meta's paying people billions of dollars to fucking send emails. We know these people aren't as smart as they seem to be. I work in tech and data myself, and you know, there's like a cap on the intelligence. You get to a certain point, you really can do anything. So it's just about showing you where to look and how to learn it. So these guys getting paid ludicrous amounts of money, and these kids, they don't have a clue how the world works, and they're just throwing money at them. It's fucking hilarious. So the daily here, kind of a weaker look than SPY for sure, and almost looking like a little head and shoulders action here. So a little dangerous, I'd say, for the Qs. Again, it's just that froth in the AI spend. They got carried away with the infrastructure, and they weren't worried too much about the application. So we needed something where it's clean and it's utilized, and it does the work for them utilizing the tool. People aren't thinkers, aren't builders. They're more of observers and watchers. So there's a look at that. I think we can kind of move on here. We know where the stock market's at, stalling, gearing up for some possible September weakness. And we know the crypto doing somewhat the same. So we have BMNR here. I'm playing options on these, so calls here and there. Let's look at the monthly. So you can see the monthly here. Yeah, I mean, looking good. Nice retest on support. Huge volume, as we know. Not too much to look at with these stats, right? As far as price action historical. So looking at the weekly too. Yeah, I mean, coming back here, not giving back 50% of this weekly here. So, healthy overall, looking like it's flagging for the next push. So we have, consolidation, push, consolidation, push, consolidation, possible push, right? It all depends on ETH though. So I think September it might get a little scary for BMNR. You know what I mean? And I think October, will be a huge month. Huge month if this all plays out, which actually I'm kind of hoping it does now. So yeah, you look at the daily close for BMNR here too. We lost the moving average here. We lost the supports here. We lost this little support there, which was, So it's also a good time to buy in these situations, right? When all supports are lost, moving averages are lost. This is when institutions like to step in. But I think we still have some more bleeding to go because we do know that people are still very optimistic. So I think as ETH corrects, maybe we come down here and fill this little pocky poo here, and then that's, and they get another little head and shoulders action again. But what if they fall all the way back down to 35? Retesting these lows. Possibility. It's all depending on ETH, guys, but these things should not be played unless you see ETH showing strength. And then you got to kind of know the accretion with the ETH per share, right? And then if you know that that's catching up ahead of the share price, then you position. Getting ready for the share price to catch up. So a lot of these DATs are compressing to the, they're one NAV right now. SBET probably the more opportunistic. But if you look at the BMNRs here, so yeah, I mean, Jesus, guys, look at this, just freaking wedging down on these people. The price is not breathing. Lost the average. Yeah, I mean, it truly looks like we're going lower. There's no divergence, no reclaims. They're bleeding. And we know they're selling shares, issuing shares to purchase ETH. So it's going to be a clusterfuck till ETH gets going. That's all I got to say. Let's look at the hourly. Yeah, my calls for next week are probably toast. But, yeah, this isn't looking good, guys. We probably need to come down here at least. Where is this? Yeah, this is... We got a little divergence here, but I don't know if that's enough to get it going. So, maybe we come down here, we fill these two areas, bounce around, and then get back out. Possibility. So yeah, we know where they're at. We know there's a little bit of frothiness throughout the market. We know people are pissed. I don't know if you guys have ever gone on to SBET's Twitter, um, but geez Louise, guys. Oh, speaking of Twitter, check out my handle here, Broke Guy Gets Rich, at Guy Gets Rich. This will be a great handle here. I've been running stocks here a little over 7 to 8 years now, and thought might as well start a show. So join my journey, guys. Pretty chill dude, like to talk stocks and nerd out. And getting back to the charts here, I do play SBET calls too, but SBET, gosh, it gets thrashed compared to BMNR. And so you can see here, like, oh man, so dicey. It's looking so dicey for the open on Tuesday. I don't even know where to start, guys. It lost this, no divergence. I don't even know where to start. It looks horrible. Let's look. Well, let's go to the monthly. Everybody's just been washed out here. So much resentment and bitterness. Let's look at the monthly. So monthly actually looks good, guys. Showing support at the top of that bar. Again, it's kind of a mess with all the movements on price. Again, the weekly too, showing some promising movements. Finding support on the moving average here. I don't know. Losing. I don't know, guys. What a mess. I feel like it needs to come down more. So, yeah, what a mess. Okay, so let's look at the daily. And the daily is the same look too. I mean, if this was a healthy look, we would be, it'd be pushing up. But we lost it. We lost it on Friday so easily, just like that. We are retesting here. Volume falling off as we sell off. So maybe not as bad as we think, but it just doesn't look great, guys. When the time comes, though, it's going to be an amazing buy. So I would love, say if we get some of these scenarios, right? A little, and then it comes all the way down here, retests. That would be buying SBET at $10. Jeez Louise, that'd be amazing. So we'll see what happens, guys. That is all I got, and I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. Happy Labor Day.